Do you want to introduce yourself first, Corey?
I'm Corey.
I'm Becky, and welcome to Regular Needs Drew. Why did we start this podcast, Corey?
I think it's going to be a good way to dive back into that childhood nostalgia, reconnect with that character that we love so much, and reconnect with one another.
Yeah, I think that was my main idea. It's just because I just miss you so much. We obviously live in different places, and so especially with the pandemic, I just don't get to see you, and I don't get to come visit, and you don't get to come visit, and yeah, I missed you, so I wanted to talk to you, and I thought, what better than to just record what we would already be talking about anyway, which
is Nancy Drew, which is what it's always been.
That's what it's always been.
Well, aren't you a regular Nancy Drew?
We sure hope so, and we hope you are too.
Join us as we talk Nancy Drew cover to cover and click to click.
Welcome to Regular Nancy Drew. This podcast is not going to be spoiler free. We are going to be discussing books, movies, shows, games, all of that, and we are going to talk extensively about the plot. So if you have not watched, read, enjoyed whatever it is that we are going to be talking about in each episode, just be forewarned that we are going to be talking about it all. Do you want to talk about your Nancy Drew story, Corey? How you first forayed into this lovely universe that we know?
Well, I first started, actually, my mom introduced me to Nancy Drew. She, I guess, read it when she was younger and started reading The Secret of the Old Clock to me and my sister when I was, I don't even know how old, 7 or 8 years old, probably. And I loved it so much, I started reading the second book, and then we had to go to the library every weekend to get more Nancy Drew, and then discovered the games by Her Interactive about age 10 when I met you. And it kind of snowballed from there, didn't it?
That's wild. Did we really start playing Nancy Drew games right away?
I think maybe.
I feel like, well, I don't want to jump ahead in our story, but I remember the exact moment that, like, I met you, like, I saw you.
Yeah.
And it's, like, cemented into my brain because I remember I had just moved to Little Elm, and I was starting public school for the first time. And I was so nervous, and I walked into class and I sat down, and there was like awful like intro stuff or whatever. But then I saw you across the room with your glasses, and you had glasses that looked just like my glasses. Mm-hmm. And you smiled at me, and nobody else had smiled at me in that classroom. You were the only one. And I thought, oh, she looks so nice. And then we sat together at lunch. And then we were friends pretty much ever since. Mm-hmm. But I don't remember playing the games with you until much later.
Much later.
Middle school, maybe even high school. But because we didn't bond over Nancy Drew. And no. I don't feel like right away, I didn't even know that you had liked Nancy Drew as much as I liked Nancy Drew. Because I have a similar story in that, I was introduced to them by my mom. My mom didn't read them to me, but she had a bunch of copies of the old 1950s, 60s editions. And they still have her name in the front of them. And she gave those to me, and I read them. But I read just about any mystery I could get my hands on at that point. But then I remember going to the library specifically with my sister and checking out the Her Interactive Nancy Drew computer games, and that really sparked the obsession.
Yeah, that's so sweet. I don't remember exactly when we realized we each liked Nancy Drew, but I do remember a time in 5th grade when I think it was 5th grade. I think I was ranting to you about not being able to get past a certain part of the final scene or Treasure in the Royal Tower, one of the two. I don't remember which one it was. And you said something, you were like, why don't you just look up the answer on the internet? And I was floored. I was like, you mean to tell me people are talking about Nancy Drew on the internet?
That's amazing.
Blew
That's
my
amazing.
mind.
That's hilarious. So we're friends, and we've obviously been friends for a really long time. I guess, gosh, how long have we been friends for?
Well, we were 10 years old. I don't know how old we are now.
And we're 28, right?
Yes. No?
And
No, we're 27.
well, I'm 28.
You are?
Yeah. When is your birthday, Corey?
In June.
Yeah. Wait, no.
You're not 28.
I'm 28. Oh, I'm 27. You're right. Oh my God.
So it's only 2 months after yours. Not
geez.
even 2 months, like a month and a half.
Oh my God.
It's like, how did we end up in the same grade if we
I've been telling my therapist I'm 28.
Should be a happy 29th birthday this year, Becky. Nope.
Oh my God.
It's okay.
Now I'm gonna have to go to therapy and be like, by the way, I was wrong. I forgot how old I.
Oh no.
Good grief. Okay, so it's been 17 years.
We are just like Nancy Drew in that we are always the same age.
Yeah, let's just go with that. What age do we want to be forever?
I don't know.
Not what 19, which is what Nancy has, not 19.
Yeah.
You stick like with a healthy 25.
25 is okay. 23, 24.
Maybe 24. 24. Yeah. Because I remember my 25th birthday, I had like a serious quarter life crisis. So,
oh no.
So 24.
We can be 24.
Yes.
So that means we met 14 years ago then.
Okay. We'll go with that, Matt.
Is there anything else we need to say with our Nancy Drew stories?
I don't know that we need to. Unless there's something that you really want to say.
I think that covers it.
Okay. So this podcast, we're going to be covering everything Nancy Drew.
In no particular order either.
In fact, out of order if we can manage it.
I actually like the approach to go out of order. I feel like if we were starting with Secret of the Old Clock, we would feel obligated to do all 56 originals, and then what is there, like 150 in the expanded original edition, and then I want to jump around and cover things in the order that we want to cover things.
Exactly. Yeah. No fun having to read Nancy Drew in any kind of prescriptive way. We're going to cover exactly what we want to cover, including the games, including the movies, and maybe the TV show.
Yeah. There's been a few Nancy Drew movies and TV shows over the years, and we can look at all of them. We can go into the Hardy Boys. I do want to talk about that new Hardy Boys show that came out, what is it, December?
It is so good.
It's so good. Loved it.
Save it for another episode, but it is so, so good.
So we're going to be posting new episodes every other Friday.
We want to give ourselves a little bit of breathing room so that we have time to read all of the things that we want to.
Another plug for our Patreon here. You can actually get early access to each episode on Wednesdays, so 2 days prior to when everyone else will get to listen to it.
So I guess that brings us to what our first episode is going to be about.
The Secret of Shadow Ranch.
Ooh. So we are starting with number 5. Special lucky number 5. It's one of the very first Nancy Drew books that I have ever read. And the copy that I have still has my mom's name in the cover. So yeah, I'm pumped.
Do you want to talk about why you wanted to choose Shadow Ranch?
Shadow Ranch is one of my all-time favorite. Well, see, the thing is, it's weird because I don't even really remember reading any of these books, but they had left such an indelible mark on me as a person. Like, I can't remember a time in my life before Nancy Drew. Mm-hmm. Like, I have just always loved Nancy Drew. And so I don't remember anything that happens in any of these books. Mm-hmm. But as I have been reading, spoiler alert, I have found that I was like, oh yeah, this sounds really familiar. Mm-hmm. So crazy how that happens. But yeah, so I had always imagined that Nancy Drew's Secret of the Shadow Ranch was one of my all-time favorite Nancy Drew books, and it's definitely one of my all-time favorite Nancy Drew computer games.
Yes.
And so it's definitely very interested to see and to revisit and to relearn and re-experience the nostalgia of what The Secret of Shadow Ranch is.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of nostalgia to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
I'm so ready to talk about it.
You haven't even finished reading it all yet.
I haven't even finished, but I have so much to say. And so I guess join us next time for episode 1. We'll see you then. Thank you for listening to Regular Nancy Drew. Email us at regularnancydrew@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at Regular Nancy Drew and Twitter at RegularND.
You can also support us on Patreon. Patrons at the $1 level receive early access to each episode as well as weekly bonus content.
So to all you regular Drews out there,
thanks for listening.